Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers. We're taking a look at whether it's time to consider food a civil right. With hunger a growing problem in our country, some leaders say food insecurity and access to healthy food choices should be a priority. The number of people relying on food pantries continues to grow every year, says New York State Assembly member Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. She volunteers at the Love Wins Food Pantry in Queens. She says even though the right to food was recognized as a fundamental human right by the United Nations in 1948, there's still a long way to go.
It is absolutely an issue that we need to elevate. Everyone needs food. Everyone needs food. So it is a civil right, it is a human right, and it's one that we need to dedicate to ensure that every single human has access to quality, nutritious food.
Trina Dunstan is on a mission. The Brownsville mother of two volunteers at her daughter's school, PSIS 284, with the Seeds in the Middle program. They give bags of healthy food to the kids. She was part of a group that demonstrated for more healthy shopping options.
I want to see, as a mother and a community activist fighting for the rights of parents as well as the children in the community, I want to see a healthy supermarket.
Since the spring of 2020, New York-based food delivery service Fresh Direct has been doing its part to get free food to the people who need it most.
The way to do that was to partner with local leaders. So we contacted each of the 5 borough presidents and said, we will develop a box that we will pay for if you tell us where it needs to go. And ideally, we wanted to focus on public housing in those areas of most need.
The New York Common Pantry in East Harlem runs pantries and mobile programs to combat hunger. Recognizing food as a civil right is just part of the solution, says Stephen Grimaldi.
I'm a big believer in absolutely having, that guaranteeing equal social opportunities and equal protection under the law, but I also believe we have to put resources behind them to make sure it works.
Our panel members all have firsthand experience with this. Let's find out what they have to say. Joining me is Trina Dunstan. She's a parent activist in Brownsville. That's in Brooklyn, New York, for our viewers and listeners from around the world. She's also a volunteer community food program organizer. We're going to hear about those in just a few moments. Trina, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Also with us is New York State Assembly member Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. She's a Democrat from Jackson Heights, and she's also been very active in a very hands-on way with this whole food issue. Jessica, great. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Lisa, for having me.
We appreciate it. Also joining us is Stephen Grimaldi. He's the executive director of the New York Common Pantry. They run a variety of multi-level and multi-layered food programs, which we're going to find out about as well. So Stephen, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Jessica, let me ask you, in terms of this issue, you've seen firsthand how serious it is. Where do you put this on the scale of concerns for our city and our country?
This is such a large concern. I think what we saw during the pandemic is a spotlight on the hunger issues. In New York State, over 2 million people are facing hunger, and over 600,000 are children. So in my community during the pandemic, we saw lines around food pantries wrapped blocks and blocks and blocks. And some of the food pantries that had popped up during the pandemic are still running with still deeply long lines. So there's a lot of work that we did at the State Assembly. We recently passed a program called Nourish New York that got food from the farms upstate. We have a robust farming community in New York, and made sure they got routed to food banks in New York City and throughout the state. And we also passed legislation that allows people to use SNAP benefits, not just to buy food at the grocery store, but to buy hot food in restaurants as well to help alleviate hunger.
So a lot of issues. Trina, in your community in Brownsville is one of the most under-resourced communities in the United States. A lot of issues with trying to get access to food. What made you you've been an active parent of your 2 girls for a long, long time with the schools, but what made you really want to get involved in such a grassroots way in this issue?
What made me want to get involved in it is like Jessica was saying, I live in a low income neighborhood. So what we did was we bought a market to the school. The market was called Seeds in the Middle. It was run by our organization. Her name was Miss Nancy Katz. What we did was we actually bought fresh fruits and vegetables to the school. Also, we took SNAP benefits. We also gave out health bucks, which parents and students was actually able to use those health bucks to take off whatever they purchase. So say for instance, you buy a $20 bag from Seeds in the Middle. You give us $10 in health bucks, you actually pay $10 from the bag. For the bag. We also have it now where we have the parents where we're letting them pre-order. So we send out the flyer. The parents as well as the students are allowed to pre-order with us. Nancy puts the bags together and she delivers them to the school.
Stephen, as you have kind of an overview of this whole issue with the different programs that New York Common Pantry runs. Give us a sense of, is the problem getting worse? Have things gotten more challenging for people in terms of food? And it's having food, period, then also having food that can really keep you healthy, especially as we are going through a pandemic.
Absolutely. So I think just to frame the conversation a bit here, food insecurity was an issue, obviously, before the pandemic. There was estimated 1.2 million New Yorkers who were considered food insecure, who cutting back on quality or the quantity of food throughout the course of the year. And that number actually had gone down. So I feel like we had made some inroads here in the emergency feeding network and supplemental food network, organizations like the New York Common Pantry, through mobile outreach and things. The pandemic comes and overnight that number doubles. As the Assembly member mentioned, it was really, really striking. And what happened is that a lot of organizations reached out to places like the New York Common Pantry. Emergency food programs just popped up overnight, organizations that didn't necessarily have this experience doing it, but really addressed the need. And so what we've seen, we're over 13.5 million meals served since the pandemic began. We've got hundreds of sites, our mobile pantry program, and just the need continues to rise. We saw a 28% increase last year, and we're on pace for, luckily that increase has gone down, but it's still a 16% increase this year. So if you layer this year after year, the number of meals, we'll serve 9 million meals this year alone.
There's much more to come. Stay with us. Jessica, in terms of the scope of the issue, you wanted to bring up some points about that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you mentioned as food a civil right, and I have to say it is, right? The right to food was recognized in 1948 by the United Nations. So that's something really important to ground our conversation. And Stephen was talking about his work at Common Pantry. And I have to share a really incredible story. There was a group of mostly transgender and queer community members who were in need of food during the pandemic. And many of them actually came together to start a pantry. Many took food home themselves at the end of the day, but that volunteer effort became the Love Wins Food Pantry, and Common Pantry has supported meals to the program. And again, it's an effort that was just really, really empowering because it was fully volunteer. It was fully led by marginalized communities. Some of them came up dressed in drag to give out the food. So the folks in line were overjoyed to see someone, in drag and giving out the food. And it was such a beautiful energy because, again, many of these people were suffering, right, when the clubs were closing down and they didn't have access to work and money and resources. But the fact that they came together when they saw a need that they had themselves to serve the community has just been a sort of beautiful outcome of a really, really difficult experience.
Exactly. Trina, in terms of your community in Brownsville, for people who are not familiar with the food challenges there, tell us what it's been like for you as a parent. I know your daughter was telling you about different types of food things, and you've tried to raise your kids with, as healthy a food as possible, but it's a real challenge.
Yeah, it really is. My oldest daughter, she does try to get the family to eat healthy, but like I said, living in the community that we are in Brownsville, we don't have like healthy food markets. We don't. I have my 10-year-old. She is kind of on the chunky side, and it's all contributed to not being able to have access to healthy food. That's why I advocate for the parents as well as the children, that, we need to have more healthy markets or stores come to the community. We really don't need a lot of churches. We don't need nail salons. We need a healthy market where we can eat healthy, our children can eat healthy. Like Jessica said, it's a right. We did a walk from Brooklyn Borough Hall to City Hall, and that's when the former mayor was in office. We had some students speak out. We walked over the bridge and we was like, we deserve healthy choices.
And as for that, Stephen, in terms of the work that New York Common Pantry is doing, can it give us a little bit of an idea? Because I know you have different types of programs.
Well, you asked the question about is food a civil right?
Yeah, let me get your answer on that first.
Yeah, well, I think that what we do here is that we look at every individual truly as an individual, but of course as part of a larger group of those who have needs. And so what we do is try to serve every single person that comes through our door. So yes, we've got programs for seniors, homeless service programs, food for seniors, food for the homeless, hot meal, prepared meals, brown bag programs. We've got a pantry program that distributes not only at brick and mortar locations in Harlem and in the South Bronx, but also through our mobile pantry distribution programs and partnering with Love Wins and a whole host of others. And that's really the way that we ensure access for everyone who needs it. And truly, it's in the actual practitioner, in the practice that we engage in every day, we truly make sure that people have access to food.
Jessica, when you hear about these communities, is there enough support, do you think, available to groups and parents like Trina? I mean, she's literally out there in front of the school with two of her friends, and they're getting these bags together, and they had the market during the summer when the weather was fine, and getting these bags of fresh food into the kids' hands. Is there enough support for parents who want to just take on that responsibility themselves?
Yeah, I think what I'm really inspired by, so there's not enough support, and we're fighting to get more resources to communities. But what I am really deeply inspired by are families and advocates like Tahira, like the community members that I work closely with at the Love Wins Food Pantry, because it's really energized the community to not just see the problem through their own lens, right, their own hunger, but to see it as a systemic issue and a systemic problem. And I'm really inspired and want to really support the efforts of organizers, people coming together and creating their own solutions. What we need to do now is fund those, invest in those solutions, right? Because they're community driven, they're led by people most impacted, and that's really important. We really need to, again, continue to shine the light on this issue because there's so many families impacted this, and again, so many children who are impacted by food insecurity. And in a state like New York, one of the richest states in the nation, right, no person should be hungry ever. It's just no excuse.
Trina, you have schools, some of the schools, some of the schools in your community, they are starting Saturday programs just so they can qualify for federal food programs for the kids. The teachers stuff the kids' backpacks on Fridays, so they'll have some with granola bars or cereal or whatever they can get their hands on, so the kids have food over the weekend. What kind of support would you like to see for what you're doing and the other parents?
Well, what we started, the person who owns our organization, Seeds in the Middle, Miss Nancy Katz, Jessica. What we're trying to do is, Nancy did put in a grant for me and another parent to start up a healthy food cafe. So we would like to start that up, where we can get the parents out. Maybe we could get some parents to come and help us. We'll be doing like healthy sandwiches and stuff, and we're looking for like more support. As far as we need more parent involvement. We need more parent volunteers to help us, get the word out about the market. We don't only do the Seeds in the Middle at 284. We have another school who partners with the program as well. But they do they do a better outcome because, like Jessica was saying and Stephen was saying, we don't have that many parents involved. We need to get more parents involved. If you want your child to live a healthy lifestyle, you have to advocate for your child. That's why I'm out here advocating for my children. That's why I'm out here advocating for myself. I deserve to be healthy. My children deserve to be healthy. And I feel that all the children, as well as the parents in the Brownville community, they deserve to be healthy also. We shouldn't have to be subjected to obesity.
I agree. And you know, if I could just add, because I think the good work that people like Trina are doing is really important, because in the communities like Brownsville, and communities across our city, you know, food-related chronic disease is higher than in other communities. And we just know that. I mean, the data is so clear. Type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity. And what is that? Those are food-related chronic diseases. Those are things that have to do with nutrition. So what we try to do at the New York Common Pantry is 40% of our food is actually fresh food, fresh vegetables and fruit. It's really important to get that food there, because the point being made is that these food markets don't exist in in many of the communities. So you can take your SNAP benefit, and oftentimes, you know, there are not those choices, and that is a challenge.
Jessica, in terms of this, you know, the mayor is a vegan. He's talked a lot about how his diet helped him deal with a family's history of diabetes and his own health. Does that kind of raise the bar on the awareness about this issue? Does that help?
I think so. I think we have to talk about food and health and nutrition and being active as well. And I do think we need to and have this conversation and dialogue in schools, right? Many schools have roofs that we can build, you know, community gardens. Many schools do, and they teach students horticulture. But it's really important to think about not just plants and flowers, but actual food and growing food. And the green markets are just a great example. I have one in my community. It's very vibrant. It comes every Sunday in the snow and everything. And it's really important that we're understanding where our food is coming from, and make sure that we have access to healthy options, so that we're having these conversations in the schools, having conversations in the community, and really listening to those at the front lines that are creating these amazing programs like the Love Wins Food Pantry and like the work that Trina is doing. So I think it's really exciting. We just need to continue to invest in those efforts and really change the narrative, right? And you know, the fast food industry has a responsibility to really start changing the way their menus look. I don't eat fast food personally, but I know sometimes it is what's in communities, and we really, really need to change that.
Right, but it's like if you have $2 and you're hungry and you're in an under-resourced community, it's like you're going to go into the corner store and whatever's there that you can afford or that you can get is not necessarily going to be like a whole grain this or a, you know.
Exactly. And I think too, you know, I want to lift up, I'm a real advocate of the street vendors in our community. They've often been the frontline workers, and many of them have set up fruit stands and vegetable stands. And, you know, they're really important to our community, and we have to make sure that they're supported and recognized too.
Stephen, final word, anything you think could be done to, you know, see a real change for the better in this area?
I think what we need to do is not, after the pandemic is over, whenever that may be, not forget about food insecurity. This happens every time there's a crisis. You know, it happened after 9/11, it happened after the crash. Every single crisis, there's this spike, and then we forget, and then food insecurity exists in our communities. I think there's a lot of work individuals can do. Come volunteer, come work. And people say, I don't have a lot of resources to give. Give your time. You know, the sweat equity is absolutely essential to making sure, you know, that saves organizations like the New York Common Pantry millions of dollars every year by people coming to volunteer. So if you can't donate, and if you can donate, come, please do. Not just New York Common Pantry, your organization, your community, whatever, but think about food insecurity as an issue.
And Trina, in terms of what you'd like to say, especially to the other parents and the other community members about what you're doing.
All I'm gonna tell the other parents is to continue to be like me, be an active parent, continue to fight for the rights of yourself as well as your children. Y'all deserve to be healthy. We deserve to be healthy. So it's just gonna be my mission to continue to fight, you know, get healthy food choices for my community, for the other communities, for the other parents, for all the children. So I'm gonna continue to fight.
All right, that's fantastic. Jessica, final word.
Oh, I love it. I mean, everything that everyone said, I think, again, we have to continue having these important conversations because we can't go back to normal, right? Normal didn't serve us. And in fact, hid our hungry from plain sight. And we need to continue to put the spotlight on this issue and dedicate resources and support the activism that's happening in the community.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on Food as a Civil Right. You can watch it again and share it on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.